I'm very proud of you. You wanted to do this, you did it. You're still going 3 years later, and you've done an amazing job, interviewed amazing people, run some events that have been so good to attend. I've loved every single one of them, and I've loved watching you,
Oh,
in
Glor,
your
you made me
journey as
cry.
well.
Thank you. Welcome to Your Second Act, the podcast that proves that life doesn't have to end at 40, 50, or even 60, because when it comes to living your best life, age is just a number. Hey, gorgeous, welcome back to another episode of Your Second Act. Thank you so much for popping me in your ears. I was recently listening back to my very first episode that I ever recorded, and honestly, it made me laugh a little. Not just because I was so nervous to do it, which I definitely was, but because it made me realize how much life can quietly change in just a few years. And this month, I am celebrating 3 years of Your Second Act, which honestly feels a little surreal to say out loud. And I thought, what better way to celebrate than to bring back my very first guest, one of my closest friends, Glor, and see where life has taken her 3 years on. And now, almost 90 episodes later, here we are, which is insane just to think about it, the fact that I've recorded 90 episodes. Back then, Gloria first came on the podcast. Both of us were in really different stages of life. Her kids were younger. She was rebuilding life after separation, learning how to slow down and just trying to live more in the moment. And listening back now, honestly, it just felt like reading an old journal entry. You look back and you realize how much growth quietly happens while you're busy just getting on with life. And while 3 years might not sound like it's a really long time, so much can shift in that space. And I know personally, when I look back at the Michelle of 3 years ago, I definitely feel like I'm a different person in so many ways. So I hope you enjoy this episode. It's reflective and at times funny, and it's a conversation that I'm having with my close friend as we talk about life then, where life is now, and how much can change in just a matter of 3 years. And if you're new to Your Second Act, welcome. I am Michelle, your host, and I'm really glad that you found your way here. So make sure you hit that follow button and don't miss an episode because these new conversations drop every single fortnight. Now, to celebrate 3 years of Your Second Act, let's get into my episode with my good friend Glor. Glor, can you believe it's been
3
three
years.
years, 3 years since you helped me record my very first episode on Your Second Act? And honestly, it's just bizarre. I still listen back to it sometimes and I think, oh my God, how far has this podcast come? But to celebrate the 3 years, I just thought, you know what? I'm going to bring my very first guest back on, which was you. And I think it's nice sometimes to just revisit. Like 3 years, as much as we think 3 years isn't a long time and it can go fast, but you know, things happen. So yeah, like
A
when I
lot has happened.
yes. So when I asked you the other week, go back and listen to the episode, what did you think of the Gloria back then? What did it bring up for you?
It was kind of weird because I didn't think it felt like 3 years for one. Like, I was really surprised that it was 3 years, and also when we did this 3 years ago, we did it in the same room, do you remember?
Yes.
We
Yes.
were in the same room, so it was like we were just having a conversation and we were
True.
being recorded, and I wasn't on video, which was amazing, and neither were you back
No,
then.
that was
So
before I
it was
videoed.
that
Yeah.
that was before you videoed, right? So we were just basically having a conversation. There was no video. So now I'm kind of looking at this a bit like, oh, it's COVID and we're doing face to face on video because we
Yeah.
can't see each other. So let's look at it that way. So look, it was funny because we both had our youngest in high school about to do their HSC. And it was exactly the same month as well, 3 years ago. So it is exactly 3 years ago. So yeah, a lot has changed, but it was weird listening to it, but also good. But I kind of felt like I haven't really changed that much in 3 years. I think the same. I still think I'm doing similar things. The only thing that's really changed is, Jay's finished school. and, he turned 21 last month. So, do you know what? That's what's really weird, and I think, people keep saying to me, "Oh my god, it's nearly your birthday, you're going to be," and I'm like, "Can we just stop talking about age?" I do not wanna think of myself as an age, I just wanna think of myself as now.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's
I don't wanna keep doing the age thing all the time. It's like we're not an age because, like, I'm not 60 yet, but 60 now is very different to when our parents were 60, and I just don't wanna be associated with that 60. I wanna be just associated with being, nearly 59, I guess.
That's a good way of putting it, but it is like age is just a number, and I think our generation's redefining what age is and not placing so much importance on it. But, I listened back to that episode and you were talking about how, yeah, you felt the same way back then, 3 years ago, and how you remember your mum being that age and how she was so much older. You remember her being so much older. And I guess she was also that I think they were in a different stage of life compared to us. I think we're braver, we wanna do more, age doesn't define us anymore. And, I can see that in the last 3 years, as much as you say, "Well, I think I'm still the same person." You are, but you I think you do change. Your responsibilities have changed. And one thing that stood out in the conversation was you were talking about how you loved your job. You were working in a job that you loved, that, it was really giving you purpose, you were really enjoying it. But I wanna ask you that now. Are you still enjoying it?
So that job was meant to be an 18-month maternity leave contract. And so my excitement with that role was it was great. It was 18 months. I was then going to go and do my 1 year of travel. And then she never came back and they offered me a full-time role. And I thought to myself, oh my God, what do I do now? I'm meant to be going traveling. And then I thought, you know what? Do it for as long as you can. You're enjoying it, stay. So I've almost been there 4 years. So, and I am at the point now where, look, I still have days that I love it, but I think because I no longer have the responsibility of having a child finishing school, I now want no responsibility. I don't want to look after anyone. I don't want to cook for anyone. I love going on holidays and having all that done for me. So I am ready, I think, for more like permanent non-working. Though people keep telling me it's too early, wait, but I'm more inclined to do it sooner rather than later. And then if I have to or feel I need to go back to work to earn some money, there's nothing stopping me. I'm still very capable. So that's where I'm at with that. So I'm kind of 1 foot in each kind of path at the moment till I really plunge. So I've averaged nearly a holiday every month this year. The only month I didn't take a holiday so far was April, and we did have lots of public holidays, and both my kids had birthdays, and my daughter relocated overseas, so it was a very big month anyway, so fitting travel in would have been hard, but I have so far been away every month except for April.
See? Look at that. That's different from 3 years ago. I mean, back
Yes,
then, your thing was like, "I wanna take a holiday every 3 months. I wanna start
yeah.
doing more of this," and then eventually maybe go and do a larger trip, go away for a lot longer. So I feel like you're definitely nearing that, and now you're talking about
Mm.
I'm not gonna use the word retirement because that kind of feels final, doesn't it? When you talk
Yeah, I'm
about
calling it a sabbatical now. I've changed the word to
love it.
sabbatical. Yeah.
Exactly. So now here you are, and every time I talk to you, you go, "I've booked the next trip," and I think, "Oh my god!" Like you are so living the perfect life in that sense. It's like you only have to worry about you now. And like you said, Maddie's gone and she's now living overseas, and you have your son at home, but obviously he's self-sufficient, he's at university, 21. So now you've got this time to really do it. And I could see that over the 3 years, that's definitely evolved and how you have
Mm.
definitely not compromised yourself in that area, have you? It's like, "No, I'm going," and you're able to
Yeah,
work it around your job. And that's why I think don't leave your job. It's great. They're happy. They
I
support you doing
know.
it. But then I also get it. You get to a point where you think, if you're not happy doing it or it's not fulfilling, then fine. If you wanna take the plunge and maybe go traveling for a lot longer. That's pretty damn exciting. And do it now, right? Don't be
Yeah.
thinking, I'm going to retire at 65.
Oh, no, no, there's no my definite cutoff is 60, which is a year away. That's my definite last minute cutoff. I mean, earlier this year, I was like, "Oh my god, I'm not gonna make it till June." But now it's end of May, and I've got my holiday booked 3 weeks today,
And
and,
she just
you know,
got
and
back from
obviously
a bloody holiday, I don't know, a day ago. But anyway,
2 maybe 2 weeks ago. But it's so funny, every time I put in leave, my boss looks at me and goes, "Do you actually have enough leave?" I'm like, "Yeah, yeah." And he goes, "I don't know how you keep doing this." I'm like, "Well, I didn't go on holidays for 6 months last year, so that's why." So anyway, everyone in the office laughs at me because they're just like, "You're never here." But I am. I was there today. But anyway, so look, it's good. So I do, I do have plans to do lots more travel. And I think, they might get sick of me constantly taking leave.
work it for your own advantage, right? Everything has to now start revolving around you. And
Agree.
the other thing we were talking about 3 years ago was dating and relationships. And back then you said, look, you'd be open if someone came into your life, but it wasn't something that you were searching for. You've got great girlfriends, family. Has that changed at all? How do you feel about meeting someone now?
It's exactly the same. I
Yeah?
still haven't been on a dating app. I haven't been on a date in 3 years. I haven't been seeking any dates or any type of, relationship. But it's so funny. I caught up with a friend the other day who has also been on your podcast, and she keeps going back to the apps. And then every time I see her, she's like, "Why do I do this to myself? After 3 dates, I look at them all and go, oh, no, I'm not letting you into my space." And she keeps going back, but she's at the point where she's almost had enough because she's just like, "Oh my god, it's so, good morning, good evening, how are you, what are you up to?" She goes, "It's so tedious and boring, there's no one really interesting around." And so I'm letting her do all the dating, and I'm getting all her stories, and I am just doing my job, my tennis, my friends, and traveling, and not wasting any time on
Yeah.
any of that.
Would it bother you if someone said to you now, you're just going to be living your life the way you're living it for the rest of your life, and you more than likely won't meet someone? You won't have that life partner. How does that make you feel?
Look, in 95% of the time, I would say I'm fine with that. My only thing is now, if I had a life partner who was retired and wanted to travel, that's what I'd be doing with them. So now I'm just traveling with friends who can get time off work. I don't have any friends who are free to travel permanently. So for me, having, a partner or a companion for that reason, that would be the only thing that would really appeal to me in having a partner, to be honest.
But for the day to day
No,
life,
no, I don't wanna
no.
look after anyone. I don't wanna do their
Yeah.
washing. I don't wanna cook for them. I do not want anyone asking me what's for dinner. I said to my son last night, "What are you having for dinner tonight?" And he goes, "Oh, I hate that question. That means you're not gonna make anything." I said, "Oh, I've already got my dinner made." I said, "Oh, I'm happy to boil you some pasta and make you pesto pasta," but that's pretty much, and that's what he got. He was taking pesto pasta over nothing. But I'm just no, and I just think that unless I meet a guy who's a chef or wants to cook and look after me, that's the only thing that I'm, you
Yeah.
know, opening up to.
I think, and I say this a lot, women together, I think, are way more powerful than a man and a woman. It sounds terrible because I'm married. And I do love my husband.
When we're in a room with 5 women and we go on a weekend away or something,
Yeah.
we can't all do enough to make dinner and help out and get things done.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, even with the son, I'm like, "Oh my god, can you take the rubbish out?" He's like, "God, stop asking me to take the rubbish out." I'm like, "Why do I have to ask you? You can see it needs to go." So even with that, I just go, "Oh, I just don't want to. That's why I like being on holidays. I don't have to cook. I don't have to clean. I don't make my bed. I get all my meals out. Like I've just reached that point where it's enough already. I looked after everyone for a really long time. I single mummed for a long time. Like, I did it all. I don't want to do it anymore. And I just think for me, like, I'm in a job as well where I'm looking after people, and that is, I suppose, where most of my energy goes. And I run events and do all sorts of stuff with food and drinks and all the rest of it, that I just think, "Oh god, enough already. Someone else, please do it." Like, I just
Yeah.
don't even wanna do it anymore. But, I feel a bit better now after this last holiday. I'm not as bad as where I was earlier this year, where I was like, "Oh my God, don't make me go into the office." So I've had a bit of a shift, but I think the shift is just me going, "Do you know what? Just chill out and, work a little bit longer and you'll have your time to go and do those things when there's more people around who are free to do them as well."
You also said 3 years ago you want to live more in the moment. Would you say that you are more so now? Do you think you've learnt to live more in the moment?
Definitely. And I almost stopped doing things that I no longer want to do. If somebody has a plan to do something and they're like, "Come on, you've got to come." If I don't want to go, I'm just like, "No, I'm all right, thanks." And I think I'm just, before I was a bit of a people pleaser and when people said, "Let's do," I used to always say yes. And now I'm only yes if it is something I want to do. I don't want to do things I don't want to do anymore. So I'm definitely a lot more like that. I've even done a little bit of that with work as well, where I've pushed things back onto people going, "That's not really my job. I know I've done it for you in the past, but I think you can do that this time." So I've been doing a little bit of that, which has, I think, kind of made me feel a bit better sometimes about the amount of workload people try and put on me that's not mine. So yeah, no, definitely. And I say yes to a lot more holidays and weekends away, and anything that's socializing, anything that's tennis, I'm a
Yeah.
yes to all of those. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's how it makes you feel when you do these
Mm.
things, and it's important. Like, I get so much energy from being with people, and I sometimes think, I don't know how I would go if I was all on my own. I think I'd seek that a lot. I think it's great to have downtime, but I think you get so much from others as well. Well, at least I do anyway. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I can see why holidays with friends or, sport, catching up, it's fun. And like I said, we're just powerful when we're together. We're a great support system to one another. And more single women in midlife are saying that it's like, I don't really have space for a man. I don't think I want it. Or some people say, I
Mm.
definitely don't want it. So when I meet someone who says, "Yeah, I really, really want to meet a man," it's like, oh, it's like it's the reverse now. Because I think we were all brought up to want to be with someone, have a
Mm.
lifelong partner. And now when you start seeing the switch, it's like more women are saying no, whereas men, midlife men on the other hand,
All want a
different
woman.
story. They
Yeah.
all
I've
want someone.
I always, from a very young age, I had boyfriends from a very young age. I always wanted to be in a relationship. It was that's what I always loved. I loved being in a partnership. I loved having boyfriends. I loved being married. I just always wanted to have kids very young. That was a very big thing for me. But I think now that I've just gone through so many stages, lived in so many places, had so many different experiences, I don't know. I think maybe because I've got my kids, I feel that was one of the main things that I really wanted in life, and to have that unit. And now it's like, well, they're grown up now, they're their own people. So I can tick that off the big bucket list and then just go now and find other things to add,
Mm,
that fills my cup, I guess, because they already filled it with the big one that I wanted. But it's been filled and it's there, and it's like a little plant that just keeps growing on its own without any assistance anymore. So now I'm looking for, some different things. I mean, who doesn't love being on holidays and being in a
mm,
different country and different foods and
yeah.
smells and people? And we went to an adults only resort for the first time on this last trip, and I was like, "Oh my God, I need to do more of those." Because who wants the 2-year-old toddler on the floor screaming at
Yep.
breakfast? Not me. I've done that. I've been there, done it, lived through it. So now it's like when I'm researching holidays, I'm like, okay, a few more places without, children. This was a 16 plus, so it wasn't 18, but at least the 16-year-olds were fine. They were,
Yeah.
busy on their phones. So that's been a new sort of revelation for me. And I'll definitely go back to that same place in Thailand that I went to, because it was just amazing, and I honestly recommend it as much as possible.
And you're still holidaying with, your companion, Gaz, your
I
lifelong friend.
am.
He's still going on all your holidays, so that
Yeah, I've
hasn't
had a bit of.
changed in 3 years?
No, no, that's still the same. No, I have mixed it up a bit. I went to, Hobart with Stacey in March this year, which was really nice. And we caught up with an old friend of ours that we hadn't seen for 15 years. But Tassie was great for something completely different. So we had a great time. And now the three of us are heading off to Bali next month, which we did 3 years ago. So it's like another 3 year
Yeah.
reunion. So we've got
Yeah.
that in 3 weeks. So there's a lot of threes going on today. That's
I
very
know.
funny.
And what,
So I'm
18
really
months ago, you and I and our girls went to Vietnam.
Vietnam, I
I know, we
know.
did a
And now
mother-daughter
our
trip.
girls are both living in Canada. I mean,
I
and
know.
not in the same town, but
I
so
know,
funny.
I know. And that leads me to the next thing. It's like, well, yeah, both of us. And I've always said our lives have run very much parallel. Like we got married around the same time, had kids around the same time, moved overseas, lived in the same city. It's weird. And now both of our girls who are the same age went to the same school and now they're both living in Canada, but yes, different cities. But I know how it's felt for me having her leave, and I wanted to ask you, when
Oh
your
God.
kids
Now
start
I'm gonna
to
cry.
don't cry. When they start to leave the nest, it's
Yeah, the
exciting.
nest the nest is easy. She went to Canberra and I was fine for 2 years. But
Yeah,
Canada is another thing. It's not,
and it's fresh for you.
that's the coot completely right. Moving overseas on her own.
Amazing.
Has been amazing too. And yeah, she starts work next week, which is good. And I think that'll be a new transition for her. But yeah, so it has been. I've had some days where I go, oh, okay, that feels like she's already been on a holiday now. It's probably time to come home. But I think she's determined to really stick out the 2 years there at least. I really don't think she's coming home
But I
any
think what
sooner.
happens now, as much as, we think, well, it's 2 years, it's a 2-year visa, I just I don't think they're ever gonna return. They're never gonna come back and be how it used to be. That
Yeah.
we're never gonna sort of be that family environment that we had for such a long time. It changes, and I'm going through that, and I'm thinking, "Oh my god, she's gone now, and even if she was to come back to Australia, she doesn't wanna live with us, nor should she." But I think there's a little bit of mourning of letting that go, of
Yeah.
the way we were, the mother that I used to
Yeah.
be. That's
Yeah.
not the same anymore, and when she came back for 10 days, it was like, "Oh, okay, she's an adult now. She's making her own decisions, living her own life, and this is what we want for our kids." But it's a bit of a bittersweet because you know that our second children, that's gonna happen eventually as well, and all of a sudden, life is gonna be really different, and when you used to hear of other people going through it, I could never fully really appreciate what they
Mm.
were going through, but it can be hard sometimes. You're excited for them,
Yeah.
but you've gotta let go,
Yeah, it's a bit of
and
a funny
yeah.
one because she did the 2 years in Canberra, and I did see her every, second weekend, sometimes every weekend, even though it wasn't for long because she'd be going to parties and things. It was very, very different. But I did have that time with the separation. So I think maybe for me, it's not as bad as it is for you because mine was out for 2 years, then came back for two.
Gave you a
Whereas
taste.
this is your first real taste of her actually out. So I actually
Yeah,
had a bit of a taste. So it's not, I don't think it's as bad for me. But I mean, obviously you do miss them, but FaceTime's a great thing. And my daughter is very good at sending me loads of videos, loads of photos,
yeah,
loads of content of who she's with. So I always feel like there isn't a day that goes past where I don't have a message or a
yeah,
picture or something. Do you know what I mean? So, she basically wakes up and they're talking into their phones and sending you, like everyone else, their Snapchats of, how many times they went to the
exactly.
toilet that day or you know. Hey, I've got a very short, funny story for you. Feel free to edit it out. But
Tell
the
me.
other day, she'd clogged the toilet in the new
Oh,
apartment with the
Glor, I
boy.
don't think she wants this on the episode. Oh my god.
So the young dude came and unclogged it for her from the building management, whatever. But that's not the worst part of the
Oh,
story. She
jeez.
went to the shops today and she bumped into him on the street and he
Oh, how
remembered her and
embarrassing.
wanted to
Oh,
start chatting to her. And she was like, Mom, I'm dying. Why does he want to talk to me?
I think you're going to say, and then he asked her out on a date with the
He may
plumber that
well have.
unclogged.
He may well have, but she
Okay.
ran so fast.
Oh,
Anyway,
bless
feel
her.
free to do whatever you want with that. But I just thought that was hilarious. I was like, in Calgary, knows no one,
But
clogs a
now she
toilet
knows the
on,
plumber.
knows the plumber, and bumps into him on the street as well.
Okay.
So that's pretty
Yeah.
funny, I thought. Anyway, so that's her. I know.
That's
Don't.
so No, it's true. I think what's great and what's saving me is the fact that, yeah, she's a great communicator and FaceTime is awesome compared to maybe getting a weekly call or a letter or a postcard. But yeah, this is all part of midlife, right?
Hmm.
Letting go of the old version of you, letting go of the mother that you once were. Like I say, it's exciting, but at the same time, there's a little
Mm.
bit of sadness about it because it's all changing. So, now that you're approaching, well, not till next year, okay? You're still a year away.
Oh my God.
The big 60. Have you enjoyed being in midlife?
Hmm. For the most part, yes. I mean, obviously, menopausal symptoms, they suck big time.
Yep.
And God knows what anyone who's not on HRT, what they're doing and how they're surviving and how they haven't killed. Like I spoke to, I won't mention any names, but I spoke to someone the other day and they said, HRT saved my marriage 3 months ago, wanted to kill my husband. And
Yeah.
the person will know who they are when they listen to the podcast. But I was like, "Oh my God, that's huge." Like, they've been married for, like, a long time, and I was very surprised to hear that statement, but I would agree, and sort of in hindsight, funnily enough, like, I've been divorced 10 years now, and I wanna say, I reckon that, I was probably starting to hit menopausal sort of things, around the time that my sort of, like, divorce sort of happened, and I think that was probably me then just going, "Oh, I've got no patience for this anymore." Like,
Mm.
don't want to do this anymore. Because I think like a year later, that's when I went on HRT. So my, stage in life has been kind of very mixed, I guess, because I went through a divorce. I moved house a couple of times. So there was a lot of things that were very stressful, changed jobs a lot. Obviously we had COVID. So it's been a bit of a mixed bag, to
Mm.
be honest. But I would say overall, compared to a lot of people, I think I'm probably a lot happier than a lot of people I speak to. I think, I'm encouraging a lot of my friends to get on the HRT and just monitor how they feel. And I think that a lot of them have started to join that and they're feeling so much better. So I think, the awareness of all that stuff is making a big difference to people because I think a lot of people just suffer in silence and just go, oh my God, I don't sleep at night.
Yeah.
I feel horrible. I've got anxiety, and the doctors say, here, take, antidepressants, but it's not the answer. Antidepressants are not the answer. And you have to ask your doctor for the meds. They're not going to come out to you and go, oh, maybe it's this. Do you know what I mean? And if it's not working for you, find a better solution. So I would say, yes, I'm probably the happiest I've been in a long time. And
Yeah,
I'm
because you go on
doing
a holiday every week, so I
well,
would be too.
let's say every month for the moment. One of them was only Noosa, like it was, like anyway. But the other thing too, I was trying to explain to someone the other day at work when they said to me, "Oh my God, how can you afford to go on so many holidays?" And I said, "Do you buy your lunch every time you come into the office?" Yeah. Do you buy, designer handbags? Yeah. I go, well, I don't do any of that. I pack my lunch.
Yeah.
I only eat out a few nights a week. I cook at home most nights. I don't Uber Eats every day. I said, I haven't bought any new clothes in years. I said, I'm using what's in my wardrobe. I'm donating, I'm decluttering, I'm selling anything that's sellable. I'm just making my life much more simplified. And because I don't buy coffee every day, I have one at home or I have one in the office. I don't spend that extra $20, $25 every day on all these things that I don't think are essential. I said, and if you add all those things up, I said, that's your holiday every 6 weeks. And people look at me and go, oh, that's not possible. I'm like, well, it is if you go to Asia. It
Yeah,
actually is
that's
if you
right.
go to Asia. So I've worked, the last holiday was probably one of the cheapest holidays I've had. And, I just managed to get some amazing deals on accommodation and, you know, it was great. So that's my mission in life to be not as frugal, but just definitely find ways to put my money to things I love doing, which is going on holidays and eating out with friends. And, I don't need to buy that coffee or I don't need those shoes or that bag that everyone thinks is the thing that you must have. But, each to their own. If that makes you happy,
Mm.
then do it. But, those sort of things don't make me happy.
You just said something about, I don't need to go and buy a coffee. Now, because I don't drink coffee and I have always been a tea drinker, like for me to go and buy a tea, it kills me because it's like it's just bloody hot water in a tea bag.
Yeah, for
Um,
$6.
I mean, really. And of course, I used to feel like, well, if I go out with you, I'm not going to sit there and have a glass of water. So I enjoy tea and I'll buy it or whatever. But now I could never understand. It's like, why do people go and spend, how much does a coffee cost? Six,
It depends on
seven.
where you go, anywhere between $5 and $7. But I know
Okay.
exactly what you're going to say because it's green. Go on, say
But
it.
now, see, this is my change. I'm in love with matcha. Oh my God, it's become a problem. I have to have one every day. And I go out and spend the most I have spent, which is really embarrassing to say, is $8. And I nearly died. And I thought, you better bloody enjoy this matcha. Every day, I need to go and have one, and it's like, I understand coffee drinkers now. I get it. I
Yeah,
get
it's the
this
same thing.
this obsession, but one, I will not buy more. I'm tempted to, but I will not. So, yes, I'm thinking I have to learn how to make the matcha at home. I haven't mastered it yet, but,
Talk to
but there
Maddie.
is
She's the expert. She's the expert. You got
I
to get
think
the
there's
right powder to start first.
yes, I know the
That's the
ceremonial
main thing.
grade and the whole thing, but there is
Yeah.
something nice about going just the
Yeah.
ritual of going and getting one, so it's like, how weird, here I am, nearly 56 years old, and I've never understood that, and the other thing was when people would say, "And extra hot," I go, "What the freak? Extra hot? Like, why do you want extra hot?" But now I understand, because sometimes the milk they put in cools it down, so now what am I asking for?
You're
An
an extra
extra
hot
hot.
too. I think, oh my God, I really must go to 7-Eleven and get one of their special drinks. I am still yet to do that.
Why would you
I
go to
just
a
don't.
7-Eleven?
Because 7-Eleven in Thailand do all the matchas and the special coffees
Really?
and the ice. Oh my God, 7-Eleven in Thailand is like the best
Well,
place to go.
who
The
knew?
best desserts, the best ice cream.
What?
See,
7-Eleven?
yeah, yeah, but it's not like 7-Eleven here, love. 7-Elevens, I'll
Oh,
have to send you a video next time I go.
okay. Alright.
It's a
You do
thing.
that, you do
It's
that.
a thing.
Well, I love it. I think, go you. You're approaching 60 in a year's time. Yes, it's still a year away. But you know what? A few weeks ago, I think it was a few weeks ago, I was talking to someone and they said, "Have you ever reached out to a friend and told a friend how much you admire them or whatever it was?" And I thought, "No, my friends all know that I love them and, think they're amazing." And she said to me, "But sometimes people don't know that and you should reach out." So I decided to reach out to you and it went to voicemail, and all I could do was fumble through it, and I cried saying, "Glor, I just really admire the person you are and what you've done with your life," and I really meant it, and I just cried my eyes out, and I hung up, and I thought, "She's gonna think that I'm dying," and sure enough, you did, didn't you, when you received
I
the
was like, oh my
message?
God, what's wrong? Were you all
Yeah,
right?
but you made
But
out what I was trying to say.
I know, but what was funny was it actually wasn't a voicemail, it was a voice memo in the end. And so
Oh,
I didn't realize my phone was on, my new phone automatically was on delete voice memos within 24 hours. So I no longer have your little memo. It's gone. And I was like,
oh,
oh my God, it was so beautiful to hear that. No,
I
it was
think
lovely. It was
I
really
think it's
nice.
important that we say
Mm,
that to each other. We tell people
yeah.
that we love what we think of them because life's hard, right? You show up every day and you try and do the best you can. But sometimes when someone you care about tells you, "I'm proud of you, I admire
Mm.
you," I think it's a great thing to tell somebody.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yes,
No,
Glory.
I was very surprised, but I did think you were dying of cancer. So I was very pleased to
Oh
know
my
that there
God.
was nothing wrong with you and it was just, something that you were
Yes, I
doing,
just
which was beautiful. And
exactly.
I did love it and totally feel the same way about you, my love.
Oh, thank you, darling. Well, look, to end all my episodes, and look, thank you for coming on to celebrate my 3rd year anniversary of this podcast. I still love doing it. I still love having a platform to show different people's stories. And I just really wanted to get you back on 3 years later. And, you're still thriving. So maybe I'll get you back on 3 years from now. Who knows what you'll be telling
I
me?
might be overseas. I might have to do it from,
I'm sure.
from
I'm sure
somewhere else. But
you
I'm
won't be
very proud of
working.
you wanted to do this. You did it. You're still going 3 years later, and you've done an amazing job. Interviewed amazing people, run some events that have been so good to attend. I've loved every single one of them, and I've loved watching you,
Oh,
in
Glor,
your
you made me
journey as
cry.
well.
Thank you.
Now that we're celebrating over 30 years of friendship, which is
I
ridiculous
know.
because
That too,
it's
hey?
yeah,
God, now
yeah.
you're making me
So
cry.
yeah, so there's another three. We're on the threes today. It's so weird. There's a
Yeah.
three in everything, but
Oh, well, thank you. Now, I usually end my episodes with asking my guests for an inspirational quote, but now I've decided to change that up because I went on a retreat a few months ago, and the lady that was facilitating the retreat said, I want you all to all close your eyes and I want you to go and imagine you're talking to your 80-year-old self. So I am now going to end my episodes with this question. If your 80-year-old self was sitting across from you today, what do you think she'd tell you about the life you're living right now?
I think my 80-year-old self would be very proud of the life I'm living now because I'm living, basically my dream, I guess, almost. I mean, I'm almost there, but I'm very close. But I've still got the best of both worlds because I'm still working, still using my brain, and I'm still traveling and hanging out with friends. I think that they would agree with my decisions and probably tell me to give up work sooner and start traveling because nobody knows how long they're here for and nobody knows what's going to happen. And I would hate to think that in 6 months' time, I may not be able to do the things I want to do because of whatever reason. You know what I
Mm,
mean?
yeah.
So that's probably what, she'd say. She'd say, get off your butt and just go. So anyway, I'm not far from that. So yeah, pretty happy with it.
Yeah. Well, keep going because I think you're doing an amazing job and good luck. Can't wait
Thank
to see where you
you.
go in the next 3 years. I'll
Oh, and
have you back on.
you've got to come to one of them too.
Oh,
It's
don't
time.
worry.
You'll have to
I
come next year for sure. You're in.
Yes, I'm
Yeah.
coming, don't you worry. I'll be sipping those pina coladas next to you. Absolutely. All my
Love them.
marches from
You can have a
7-Eleven.
matcha colada, imagine. They need to make a. I'm sure there's a matcha cocktail in Japan
I'm sure.
somewhere.
I'm sure. Yes. All right, my love. Love you and
Love
thank
you
you.
too. Thank you. Mwah.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Your Second Act. If you enjoyed this episode, I'd love it if you could rate and leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. Your feedback means the world to me.